Maybe it's true that everything is bigger in Texas because, well, we've got a pretty big race on our hands tonight. The Speed Racing Network Glytch Truck Series playoff opener is upon us this evening, and we are here for all the action it can bring us. I am Emerson Art, and I have my good friend and colleague Ed Shearer alongside myself in the virtual booth this evening. And we're excited to be bringing you live coverage of round number 14 from virtual Fort Worth, Texas, here on the iRacing.com motorsport simulations platform. And Ed, we have a unique quad oval. It would set the scene for the opening race of the playoffs. So this is a track that has a flat and wide turn on one end and a high speed, high bank turn on the other. Very difficult to find a rhythm here. But if you're a playoff driver heading into tonight's race, Ed, how would you approach it?
Yeah, honestly, Emerson, if I was one of these playoff drivers tonight, I would look at it as kind of a must-key win situation for how this first round plays out for these drivers. You know, we go from this 1.5 miles to a road course and then to one of those tricky tracks in Dover with that concrete surface. It can be either a crazy show or just a domination show. But this Texas track is 1.5 miles. It definitely plays a little interesting with the trucks. I feel like whoever's going to have the track position in the start is going to definitely dictate how this race will go. So definitely, I think this qualifying session coming up is definitely going to play a big factor. But I definitely feel like this is a must-win circle for a lot of these drivers in the playoffs to maybe solidify themselves in that next round and get that little bit of pressure off their back for when we go road course racing.
100%, Ed. Those are some excellent points. Two very difficult tracks coming up. Road courses may not suit many drivers' styles. Dover, a very difficult track, one that takes a lot of skill to and finesse. This track is pretty much the only bread and butter track of the round. Drivers who may only succeed or may only do well in these types of tracks have to excel tonight. So with that being said, let's go ahead and meet which drivers that might be. It is time to meet our Speed Racing Network Glytch Truck Series playoff drivers. And so in the 15th seed in the playoffs, with 1 pole, 3 top 10s, and driving the number 77 truck for pilot, we have Michael Politis. In the 14th position in the Speed Racing Network Glytch Truck Series playoffs, with 2 poles, 2 top 10s, and driving the number 66 truck for Jonathan Byer Racing, we have Bobby Anderson. Entering as the 13th seed in the playoffs, with 1 top 5 and 6 top 10s to his credit, driving the number 48 truck for 777 Motorsports, we have Kyle Westwood. Entering as the 12th seed in the playoffs, with 1 top 5 and 6 top 10s, driving the number 36 truck for Jonathan Byer Racing, Austin Purnell. Entering tonight as the 11th seed in the Speed Racing Network Glytch Truck Series playoffs, with 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s, driving the number 58 truck for Flying Karma Racing, Kyle Vincent Gilbert. Entering as the 10th seed into the playoffs, with 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, driving the number 29 truck for Aeons Motorsports, Sean Jensick. Entering as the 9th seed in the playoffs, with 5 top 5s, 9 top 10s, driving the number 61 truck for pilot, Lane Hostler. Entering as the 8th seed in the Speed Racing Network Glytch Truck Series playoffs, we have 2 top 5s, 6 top 10s, driving the number 79 truck for pilot, Brian McAvoy. Entering as the 7th seed in the playoffs, with 3 top 5s and 7 top 10s, driving the number 90 truck for Aeons Motorsports, Michael Sturgill. Entering as the 6th seed in the playoffs with 2 wins, 5 top 5s, and 10 top 10s. Driving the number 85 truck for Aeons Motorsports, Brad Herman. Entering as the 5th seed in the Speed Racing Network Glytch Truck Series playoffs with 1 win, 8 top 5s, and 11 top 10s. Driving the number 27 truck for Aeons Motorsports, Gabriel Ellison. Entering as the 4th seed in the Speed Racing Network Glytch Truck Series playoffs with 2 wins, 4 top 5s, and 5 top 10s. Driving the number 17 truck for Tank Racing, 2 poles for Reshaper. Entering as the 3rd seed in the playoffs with 2 wins, 5 top 5s, and 7 top 10s. Driving the number 38 truck for Pilot, Ryan Johnson. Entering as our 2nd seed in the playoffs with 4 wins, 7 top 5s, 11 top 10s. It's our regular season champion, driving the number 31 truck for Jonathan Bayer Racing, Dean Brummett. And entering as the top seed in the Speed Racing Network Glytch Truck Series playoffs with 4 poles, 4 wins, 7 top 5s, and 9 top 10s. Driving the number 7 truck for Tank Racing, Joshua Balliet. This, of course, is the schedule these drivers will embark on for the playoffs this time around in the round of 15. Texas is, of course, what we have tonight. Watkins, Glen, and Dover to round out the round. And a good look here at the point standings coming into tonight's race. And here is the 15 drivers we're talking about tonight. Drivers already in some trouble just to start the playoffs. Politis, Anderson, Kyle Westwood, Austin Purnell. We're all in need of a great run tonight. Drivers to the good, pretty much locking themselves in as they take the green flag, Balliet and Dean Brummett. Ed, what do you take from this snapshot of the point standings?
Honestly, everything wouldn't be comfortable. I mean, if I'm Gabe Ellison or Brad Herman, I mean, you got that big of a cushion, right? 30 points, but one small mistake like tonight can change the whole outcome of this round. We saw it last night with a couple of playoff drivers in the Fiverr truck series. A lot of playoff drivers were having issues early on, either getting in wrecks or having issues on pit road. It can be a really tricky night for these drivers. You just got to be able to, put a clean race together and just hopefully make it into the next round. But I'm curious to see what kind of strategy we play tonight with this stage. I'm curious if any of the playoff drivers are going to maybe try to change the strategy and maybe not play for stage points and play for the win, or some people will play for stage points. If I'm anybody below that cut line, I definitely think you would have to play for the stage tonight. All these points in these first 3 races are definitely going to matter in your favor, especially somebody like Michael Politis. I think Michael Politis definitely is somebody that has to play stage points, I think, every single week in this first round to be able to keep himself in contention, unless he plays a really different strategy and gets lucky with some untimely cautions. But this first race is definitely going to play a little bit of mind games for some of these drivers below the cut line and just barely above the cut line.
I think you're absolutely right, Ed. Drivers Politis, Anderson, Westwood, and Purnell, they have to be aggressive here in the opening 30 laps to get some stage points. The thing with that, Ed, no pit stop in that first stage. You have to be aggressive. You have to burn up your tires, but not overdo it to where you fall out of it towards the end of the stage. Now, of course, this is a very talented grid of drivers, and I would expect nothing less than a very competitive evening here tonight from Virtual Fort Worth, Texas. And so we head back into the sim here in Virtual Fort Worth, Texas. Qualifying is underway. We have about a minute left in qualifying, and let's go and take a quick look at the lap times here on the timing sheet. And you can see there, Brad Herman atop the timing sheet. Joshua Balliet down in the 20th position, the driver top of the playoffs. Did not get a good qualifying run in there, so he's gonna be starting towards the back. Gabriel Ellison, he just throws that truck up into the 15th position for that 27 machine. And we're waiting on Gerald Poole, Connor Cunningham, Albert Hewins, and Branson McCann potentially to set qualifying times tonight. But with 30 seconds left, that should, in theory, do it. Taking a look at the times, you see a couple playoff spoilers up there. Lane Doyle, Vincent Cortez, looking to try to play some playoff spoiler tonight. And then drivers who could use a good run tonight, Austin Purnell and Kyle Westwood, they're up inside the top 10 already. Bobby Anderson as well.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned, Emerson. These guys, I mean, like I said, if you're a playoff driver, track position is going to matter in this whole race tonight. And Brad Herman looks like he'll be able to get the pole tonight, so he'll be leading us to the green flag. But definitely a great start for that 85 machine. I know we said earlier that, you know, points look okay for him right now, but every point matters in this first round. If he can make a good stage win, that carries over throughout the whole playoffs for him. So it could definitely mean a big factor coming towards that championship race in the end.
Absolutely. And with that, it's now time to go through our starting lineup for round number 14 here from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. And how about it? We have Brad Herman, Lane Doyle, the top two on the grid. Brad Herman with a 29.740, top of the sheet, but Lane Doyle only won 1,000. Fact, Vincent Cortez and Dean Brummett make up row number 2. Reese Schaefer, Michael Sturgill, row 3. Ryan Johnson, Kyle Westwood, row 4. It's Austin Purnell and Bobby Anderson to round out the top 10, Ed.
Yeah, in 11th and 12th, we got Lane Hosler and Brian McAvoy. Back in row 7, we also have Sean Jensick and Jay McDonald. Row 8, we have Gabriel Ellison, one of those playoff drivers, along with Kyle Vincent Gilbert. Back in row 9, we also have Devin Zimmerman along with Michael Politis, one of those drivers that need a good run tonight. And then back in row 10, it'll be Tyler Markle along with our number 1 seed in the playoffs, Joshua Bellia, who didn't have a great qualifying run.
Yeah, not a great run for Bally yet to start off the playoffs. Now, he has a huge point gap in his favor. I'm sure he's not too worried about it. But carrying on, the final 4 drivers on our grid this evening: Branson McCannon, Albert Hewins, Connor Cunningham, and Gerald Poole. Then the 24 drivers looking to take the green flag tonight here from virtual Fort Worth, Texas. And looking at it, Ed, there is our grid of drivers getting ready to do battle this evening here from Fort Worth. About to put you on the spot, Ed, here at Texas. Who gets it done tonight?
It's hard to pick. I mean, I really do like some of these playoff drivers and how they're starting. I definitely feel like we have to look at our second seed in this, Dean Brummett. I mean, he's brought speed to every single one of these 1.5 mile racetracks. I definitely think he gets it done tonight. Maybe he locks himself into that second round when not having to worry about Watkins Glen. But if I was going to pick a non-playoff driver out there, I feel like you have to look at Vincent Cortez. I think Xfinity Series, I think he has a win coming from him in either the Xfinity Series or down here in the Truck Series. Why not make it tonight?
How about it? Vincent Cortez out there in that 3rd position. He's got a great shot at it. I'd look for someone maybe who hasn't gotten a win yet, who needs some help. I would look a little further down the grid. Maybe someone who's going to make some leaps and bounds on the pit cycles. Talking about maybe Kyle Westwood getting up there. You know, we've seen Bobby Anderson have some pace on these 1.5 miles earlier this season. Those are some drivers who are in desperate need of good results. If they can come out and play tonight, perform well tonight, like a Kyle Westwood in that 48 machine, that's who I would look at tonight and maybe getting it done. Somebody who needs to get it done, not too far off the front. He could put himself in that right position. But here we go, guys, getting ready to do battle here from Texas. Our 12 rows of Speed Racing Network Glytch Truck Series vehicles. I want to thank every single one of you for coming out and joining us with this amazing series this evening. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying tonight's broadcast. Getting ready to bring you the action here from virtual Fort Worth, Texas. Brad Herman and Lane Doyle, then the front row as the iRacing.com safety vehicle make that hard left-hand turn into the safety of pit lane. The field in the hands of Brad Herman, and racing will commence from Fort Worth. As the field works their way off of turn number 4, battle for the race lead, Vincent Cortez, 3 wide for the race lead, Schaefer down low, Cortez up high, Herman in the middle, and we're getting it started early.
Yeah, this is a little early for a little bit of aggressiveness, but these playoff drivers are hungry for wins, Emerson, even for the stage win, if anything. But it looks like Vincent Cortez, with the run on the outside, is going to have a nose ahead going into turn 3. Reese Schaefer is going to look back on the inside. It's going to be side by side coming out of turn 4, coming to the start finish.
Hard fought battle here between teammates. Cortez and Schaefer dueling it out through the quad oval here at Texas. A thing to note, Ed, Reese Schaefer, he's finished second place 3 times here at Texas in the Speed Racing Network. All of those are to Seth Berger, who's not in this series. He's in the Z-Grill series that runs tomorrow. And so Schaefer, in his eyes, may have open season, may have the best chance to get it done here at Texas this evening as he clears Vincent Cortez, his teammate, for the race lead. Over on back, Brad Herman, Dean Brummett, they're lining up. Michael Sturgill all over one another. The battle's back here now going on for 7 between Lane Doyle and Lane Hostler. The lane's going at it into turn 1.
Well, yeah, Lane Doyle did not get a good restart at all on that opening green flag, Emerson. He dropped at least 7 to 8 positions on that start. I don't know if he just didn't get a good start on the leader or if he was just not expecting the green to come out as early, but he did not fire off as well as Brad Herman on that initial start.
Yeah, absolutely not. I saw that immediately, a struggle there as the 38 of Ryan Johnson out of shape, a little high up out of the groove coming through turns 4, and Johnson is going to fall backwards.
And that's the big thing with this track, Emerson. That top does work up there and 3 and 4, but you have to be able to keep the power down. And sometimes the rear end just will not agree with the truck, and it'll just step out on you once you come off the exit. So a little lucky there for Ryan Johnson to keep it out of the fence, but definitely going to be playing a little bit of a position game here.
We find our way a little further back, a lot of jostling for position back here. Joshua Balliet already on the rise, and he's already up to that 14th position. And if you recall to last week, Ed, I believe you were in the session for that. Were you spotting for him? He got a penalty on lap 20, drove through the field, and took his 4th victory on the season. If there's someone who can drive through the field in this Speed Racing Network Glytch Truck Series, it's this guy.
Yeah, if there's anybody in this field that if you have an issue and you want to light a fire under somebody, it's Joshua Balliet. I mean, he had that penalty and he just wanted to prove to me and show me that he can get back to the front with no issue. I literally told him just to take it easy and everything. And it's like, he didn't really listen to me all that much. He basically just drove it straight back to the front of the field and just showed off how good of a truck he did. And he ended up winning that race, and it was a great night overall for him. But it's getting a little bit crazy up here at the front, Emerson. It looks like Dean Brummett's on the inside of Michael Sturgill, and looks like that top lane's just not doing it for Sturgill right now.
Yeah, Sturgill's working his way a little backwards this time. Lane Hostler, he's going to poke his nose up inside the top 5 for the first time this evening. Quick note, biggest movers up inside the top 10 with Hostler at +6. Gabriel Ellison at +5 and Reese Schaefer at +4 up inside the top 10. Hostler going at it now with Sturgill and trying to clear him off into turn number 4. Sturgill fights back though on that high side. Now he'll clear it behind Cortez all over the tailgate of Reese Schaefer. Here he goes to the inside.
Yeah, Vincent Cortez is looking the inside of Reese Schaefer. Definitely think it looked like he tried to get a little bit of a run on him on the inside, but it looks like Reese with the top line prevailing has that better exit. I'm just really shocked to see the aggressiveness out of all these playoff drivers right now, Emerson. You would think these guys would play it a little bit easy, see where their trucks are feeling like, maybe what they need to do for comfortability-wise before this stage, but it looks like everybody's just really wants to get to this stage and get the playoff points over with.
Well, this is intriguing, right? Because while Vincent Cortez, whoa, huge dive to the inside. Brad Herman tried to stick it down in there. Cortez drove it hard into the center of the corner, and Cortez gets that, or holds on to that top spot. Now Brummett, a shove down to Brad Herman. Schaefer gives a bump to his teammate Vincent Cortez. The thing with that, though, was Cortez upsetted, or not upsetted, but I guess moved Schaefer up off the bottom, his teammate, and now puts his teammate side by side with fellow playoff competitors as Cortez kind of racing for himself out in the front of the field, which he's certainly entitled to do. Let him race, right? But maybe a little bit of redemption he's trying to bring up here for not being able to make it into the Z-Girls playoffs last week.
Yeah, and absolutely. Brad got really tight there off of 2, almost made contact with the 17, but all that side-by-side, Emerson, brought 9th, 8th, and 7th into this little bit of a mixture battle here with Lane Doyle, Kyle Westwood, and Ryan M. Johnson getting into this mixture now, too. But they're going to have to play a little bit of a game. Which line do they think is going to get the advantage here? This is what I was seeing last night in the truck series, truck race as well. You really had to see which line you wanted to follow. It seemed like each line would stall out, but you just had to see which line would prevail, which truck would get the better run on the exit. And follow that guy to not let that guy on the top in or let the guy on the bottom fix in as well. I mean, you're looking on board here from Ryan M. Johnson. Like, it looks like the bottom's going to get a little bit of a run, but that top might come back from the exit of 2. So you might have to really think, which line do you want to be in to overtake the guy in front?
Very tight here between Westwood and Doyle. Doyle up the track, Westwood tight to the inside. And they will sort it out. Brummett and Herman go at it then for a third. My goodness. On top of one another, still side by side in that battle for third.
And doing all this, Dean's going to have to think about this if he wants to get back in line or if he's really going to want to fight this, because doing all this, Lane Hosler is going to have the advantage of being able to maybe shuffle Dean Brummett outside the top 10. I mean, you got to think there's 9 trucks in this battle here, but it looks like Brad had a little bit of a moment on the entry there and is going to lose this position to Dean Brummett. Now maybe even lose the position to Lane Hosler, who's looking to the outside of him.
Battle for the lead. Schaefer down to the inside. Stuffs it down to the inside of his teammate, Vincent Cortez. Dean Brummett looks to follow suit. Side by side through the quad oval, halfway through stage number 1, and Schaefer will lead at the stripe.
Yeah, and that Toyota, Dean Brummett, is giving a nice shove to Reese Schaefer going into turn 1. Is definitely going to make him get clear of Vincent Cortez, but Dean's going to be able to be stuck on the bottom with Vincent Cortez. Brad Herman might even give help to Dean Brummett. This is going to be interesting for second. Who's going to give way here? But it looks like Reese Schaefer's going to jump up and help Vincent Cortez. Almost left the door open for Dean going into 3 there.
Side by side, and actually this time by the start finish line is halfway through stage 1. Stage 1 is at the completion of lap number 30. That is when the caution will come out after the top 10 have crossed the stripe. And on your screen right there is the top 9. First place Reese Schaefer all the way through, Kyle Westwood in the 48, all packed up under a blanket.
Yeah, and you should have seen the run just now of Lane Hosler off the top. He went all the way almost in that 3rd lane, Emerson, and got a good run on Brad Herman. Brad's truck right now just doesn't seem to be rolling the bottom as well as he wants to. It looks like he's getting a little bit tight on the entry of 1, having to lift out of it in the center is allowing these guys to get to the outside of him. But look at all these trucks here, Emerson. They're 2x2 under a blanket for at least 4 rows deep.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is now, we're starting to get into that territory, Ed, where the tires are starting to really feel this heat. The lacquer grip is about to approach these guys like a truck, no pun intended. This could become very sketchy here in a few laps.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see in the next coming laps. Maybe I would take a guess, maybe around 20-25. Who really was taking care of their tires the most here? I feel like a lot of these guys who played aggressive in that start are going to start to fall off, and you'll probably notice it here in a little bit. But, I mean, I just don't know if you really want to play that aggressive game. I mean, I know we're only going about 30 laps to the stage, but still, these tires mean so much to you. I mean, I don't want to be too aggressive on it.
Here's the thing, Ed. Say if you're up at the front of this pack, you go from first, and if you go jump up to the high side, let this entire pack fall through because you make a mistake, you lose like 8 or 9 points right there. That could be the difference of you making it to the next round or not. So these playoff drivers have to be careful at, risk management, understand the situation, understand the big picture as they race so hard for these valuable stage points. Now it starts to look like it starts to calm a little bit, but we still have side-by-side action here. Cortez fighting to the outside of Brad Herman. Of course, Cortez, a non-playoff driver, was fighting for his playoff life last week on Thursday in Phoenix in the Z-Grill series, not able to get it done, and now still fighting it out here in the Glytch Truck Series for his first victory on the season.
Yeah, I think Brad was getting a little bit irritated. He's probably like, oh, why can't I get clear of this guy? He's like Vincent Cortez is just hanging on his quarter panel. Brad just can't get the run on the exit to get clear of this 23 Chevy Silverado. And again, you see it. He gets back onto his quarter panel on the outside. Brad just really wants to try to get clear of this guy because the more these two are side by side, first and second are going to start pulling away, and you're seeing it little by little. Dean's getting maybe about a truck length to 2 truck lengths of a gap between these two, and it looks like Brad has a moment there again going into turn 1. Gonna keep these two side by side off of turn 2.
Riding down the back, looking off the rear end here of Dean Brummett's truck at those 2 drivers behind, as they continue to try to duel it out. Brummett closing the gap on Schaefer, but not able to make a move yet as he stalks Schaefer in front of this. Still side by side, Cortez hanging tough. Well,
Cortez is keeping his money worth here on the top.
Around, Lane Doyle! Michael Michael Sturgill's gonna go round. First caution on the evening, and this one is Michael Sturgill in trouble. And we're gonna go back and figure out what happened to the 90 machine. We saw half of that, most of that live, really, Ed. We'll take a look overhead here. Kyle Westwood, Lane Doyle, and Michael Sturgill all kind of converge on one another. Westwood comes down, clips that right rear on Doyle into the door of Sturgill.
Yeah, it looked like Westwood just had a heck of a run on the exit there too, and I think he just gave it a little bit too much wheel maybe there on off of 2, and maybe just turned a little bit too far left, and maybe just got an unfortunate timing clipping the 47 into the 90. On the good side though, it looks like Michael Sturgill might be okay. He didn't really get that much damage for a playoff truck. That's definitely in need of points in that 90 truck, but definitely, I think he had a break there. He didn't really get much damage from that. Maybe a little bit on the left rear from that contact from Lane Doyle, but it looks like he might be just okay.
Well, you saw it there. Just a great run off of the corner. You're right, Ed. Overdrove down a little bit. He wanted to just follow through the middle. Came down a little too much in that mess. And now we have a split strategy here, Ed. We have drivers pitting under this caution. We are still about 6 laps away from the stage. So we have drivers, Lane Doyle, of course, a little bit of damage on it, instead of Michael Sturgill. But drivers like Bobby Anderson, Brian McAvoy, and Byron McDonald, who did not have damage, coming down, taking advantage of this stage caution. They potentially could cycle to the front here in about 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, and this was going to be the interesting call, like I call it pre-race, Emerson. I just didn't know if we got these early cautions, how many of these guys would maybe take the risk and going to get tires. I mean, you got to remember, too, I believe, if I remember correctly, we only have 3 sets of tires. So these guys are going to be down a set of tires to the rest of these guys that are still out on the track. But, I mean, I think it's going to be probably about a 4 or 3 lap shootout for this stage. So if these guys can maybe try to rip the top and get as much ground as they possibly can. I mean, I think the first one off from looking at this, I think it was the 24 of Jay McDonald, and he's all the way back in 20th. So it's going to be a lot of ground to make up to be able to even remotely get close to stage points. So I don't know. Like you said, Emerson, I think they might just try to save what they got and maybe flip the stage here when we get the stage caution.
Sure thing. They'll probably end up driving very conservatively early here. The field comes off of turn number 4 and see if the lights go off on the safety vehicle or if we continue on here. We will be going green this time by, so we'll ride this one out. It's Reese Schaefer, Dean Brummett, Vincent Cortez, Brad Herman, Lane Hostler, Ryan Johnson, Kyle Westwood, Gabriel Ellison, Austin Purnell, and Sean Jensick. Then the top 10, Balliet, Zimmerman, Cunningham, Calvin Zagibut, Merkel, Politis, McCannon, Poole, Hewins, Byron McDonald, the top 20. Following there, Anderson, Lane Doyle, Brian McAvoy, and Michael Sturgill. Sturgill, of course, going back down to pit lane, probably to top off on fuel. Not a bad move.
No, not a bad move at all. I might help them in the long run to take less fuel once we get closer to the later end of this race. The big question here, Emerson, I'm going to think of, how aggressive are some of these guys in the back that need playoff points? Like Michael Politis is in 16th right now. And we also have Joshua Balliet, who's our number 1 seed. He's just outside the top 10. How aggressive are these guys going to be to get these stage points?
I guess we're gonna find out, right, Ed? We have 5 laps left here in stage number 1. Somebody like Politis, people below that cut line, they have to be aggressive here. If they're not gonna steal stage points away, then they're banking that they're probably just gonna have to win their way in, either tonight or the rest of the round. But I guess, Ed, yeah, we're gonna find out as the iRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety down in the pit lane. The field in the hands of Reese Schaefer, and racing continues here from Texas. 1 lap removed from the restart, and it's Schaefer leading Vincent Cortez, Dean Brummett, Lane Hostler, Ryan Johnson, Ven, the top 5. Brummett trying to make some hay on the high side here on Vincent Cortez in that battle for second. Now 4 laps to go in stage number 1.
Yeah, and the more side-by-side we get with Vincent Cortez and Dean Brummett, the more this helps Reese Schaefer pull away, but it looks like they're going to single file it out. Not really much going on for this top 10. I mean, maybe in the back there a little bit. We saw a little bit of battles going on. Looks like Joshua Balliette's looking under Sean Jensick right now for 10th in that stage, going back and forth, but it looks like also Lane Hosler looked to the outside of Dean Brummett going, and the 2, he's going to have the run going down the back straightaway, helping him get maybe clear.
Yeah, here we go. This is going to be important here. Brummett falling back a little bit as well. Hostler clears to 3rd. Ryan Johnson wants a piece of the action. This time by out of turn number 4 at 2 laps to go in stage 1. It's still Schaefer over Cortez. Very tight, continuing on in that battle for 4 between Brummett and Johnson.
Yeah, and Reese Schaefer loves what he's seen in his mirror. Vincent Cortez basically is like a safety blanket for Reese Schaefer right now, with helping him get clear for this stage. These are going to be big stage points given out here, as Ryan M. Johnson still side-by-side with Dean Brummett. You also got the 85 of Brad Herman side-by-side with Kyle Westwood.
Ooh.
So this is going to be playing a big factor as we're coming to the white flag in this stage.
Off of turn 4, Brummett got tied up the inside of Ryan Johnson. Johnson clears. There's that battle for 6th, as you were mentioning, between Brad Herman and Kyle Westwood. But off of turn number 2, Reese Schaefer still leads here at Texas.
Yeah, really great run so far for Reese Schaefer with Vincent Cortez. And I believe that it looked like a white truck right there, and I couldn't really make it out. It looks like a 36 of Austin Purnell that had issues.
In trouble, but off of turn number 4, Purnell falls out of the stage points, and Reese Schaefer's gonna win the stage. Stage 1 goes to the 17 of Reese Schaefer, and there is the caution. Cortez, Hostler, Johnson, Westwood, Brummett, Herman, Ellison, Balliette, and Jensick. Then the top 10.
Yeah, and that's big for Purnell. He was in for stage points too in that stage.
Absolutely.
Had a little mistake and then knocked him out for getting stage points, and he ended up finishing 12th in that stage. And also might have some serious damage on that right side too. He made some pretty good contact with that wall.
Yeah, you're right, Ed. This could be huge. Working our second caution of the evening. I'm sure if there is any damage, he's going to take this caution to take a look at it, maybe repair it, because there's no guarantee that any cautions will happen past this point here in the race. But of course, stage 1 concludes, and it is Reese Schaefer Ven, the stage 1 winner, as the field will work their way around to the pit lane. And the first pit stop for most of this field will be underway here momentarily. So a wild stage there, Ed. Very aggressive, even all the way through. Now, of course, the caution helped out a little bit to keep the EV aggression up, but through 30 laps, nobody really lounging around and letting this race play out.
No, it's been very exciting to see so far. I mean, I thought we were going to see a little bit of a conservative race to start, see where everybody's trucks were going to be at, but I mean, I just love looking at aggressive racing. Emerson, I don't know about you, but that was a lot of fun for those beginning stages of that race. But I think definitely we might see it tempered down a little bit here. So we're going to have one of these long runs. But the big question is, who might play off a little bit of a different strategy? Who might come in sooner to get these tires and maybe leapfrog the guy in front? Who might play the little bit of a long game and maybe try to use the tires to get past some people in the end game here? It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely. And so the drivers are down and away to race off the pit lane, and Cortez is going to beat out Schaefer there on the pit exit. That, of course, doesn't change the stage results, and for Cortez, he doesn't really care about all that. But a important point there is because they're also not even going to be on the front row. But we're going to take the opportunity here to try to bring up driver of the number 17 and talk to our stage 1 winner here from Texas. And driver of the number 17, Reese Schaefer, with the stage 1 victory here. Reese, starting the playoffs right.
Yeah, had a monster restart at the start of the race, to be honest, and got up to about P2 there, and then I was scrapping with Vinny a little bit and got ahead of him before that, about after that 15-lap window, and caution came out, and we're able to stick with it after yellow. So now we got 2 guys stayed on. Looks like we're restarting P4 here, so we're just gonna keep the momentum going.
Absolutely. It was a very wild stage. I don't know if it hurt or helped you here, but battling against your teammate Vincent Cortez, who's not in the playoffs, looked like he paid a little bit of security blanket there on the second on the restart. But there early on, he was giving it to you as well, not letting you just ride it out. How about how was the racing up there from Vinny, and then from the rest of the field that was right hot on your tail?
Yeah, I noticed the draft in 3 and 4 is really strong, so we'll have to watch that the rest of the race. Guys would really start sending down the front stretch, and might even have to send down the grass to get by people. So we'll just have to protect that really well. And then obviously turn 2 is just kind of getting the run off that is the big passing area. So it would just try to, these guys are in front of us are on slightly old tires, but they'll still be quick. So we'll have to navigate past them and just try to make our way to lap 110 here.
Absolutely, Reese. Congratulations on the stage 1 victory. Best of luck to the rest of the way.
Thanks, sir.
And so that was driver of the number 17, Reese Schaefer. And you can see there his Got Milk truck there, of course, for the Michigan Milk Producers Association. Shout out to his family there. Doing all that hard work there. Making some milk up in Michigan. And so getting ready to do battle here now is the front row, Michael Sturgill and Bobby Anderson. As the field rounds their way off of turn number 4, VIRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety down in the pit lane. Stage number 2 is underway from Texas. Truck hard in the wall. Trucks around in the back. Oh my goodness. Kyle Vincent, Gilbert, and Co. around in the back of the field, and the caution's going to come out. This one's going to involve Connor Cunningham.
Yeah, and you got to think about that, Emerson. Everybody that took tires there maybe didn't get enough heat in those tires. Cold tires definitely will affect the handling of the truck, maybe even make it a little bit more slicker on the track. So definitely a little bit of an issue there with the cold tires possibly.
So we'll see here. Yes, Cunningham was sideways up off the corner, came back up, and unfortunately, this is going to collect one of our playoff drivers there, and Kyle Vincent Gilbert. That's huge.
And Kyle took a decent lick right there to the right front of that truck into that outside wall there. Luckily, after that, it looked like he didn't hit anything else, really. It looked like also Purnell there, too. But earlier in that stage, make it through there, luckily, with no damage. But that's definitely not how you want to see the start of this race go for some of these playoff guys. A lot of guys recently in the playoffs having a lot of trouble on these restarts, too. I saw a little bit of a shakeup on that restart where that bottom lane did not get going. I believe it was Ryan M. Johnson who did not get going on that start and checked up the whole inside lane.
We're going to watch it here. This one overhead. We'll kind of see a lot of what happened here between Connor Cunningham and Co. This is the restart, and Cunningham there kind of in the middle of the track. Just off the corner. Yeah, just sideways. And trying not to hit the 13 there. Comes back up the track, hits the 58.
And it could have also been an issue, Emerson, where Connor Cunningham was really just trying to get the power down maybe a little bit too soon on the exit there to try to get clear of that guy on the inside, and maybe just misstepped it a little bit and the truck stepped out on him. Could be either or, but I have a feeling those cold tires really didn't play a good factor in that, as well as I believe we had some pit stops going on there.
You're right, Ed, and that's going to be something we recap here in a few moments. We're going to step aside real quick and hear a message from our commercial partner here at Speed Racing Network, Butt Kicker. Welcome, race fans, back to virtual Fort Worth, Texas, working round number 14 of 20 here on the Speed Racing Network, Season 5, Glytch Truck Series schedule, working lap 38 of 110, and working our third caution period of the evening. Field getting ready to do battle once again here from Fort Worth. And Michael Sergio leads Vincent Cortez, Bobby Anderson, Reese Schaefer, and more. As the field rounds turn number 4, VIRacing.com. Safety vehicle finds its safety down in the pit lane. And racing will commence once again here from Fort Worth. One lap removed from this caution period, and Cortez pushing hard around the outside on Michael Sturgill. Now Bobby Anderson sliding up the track in front of Reese Schaefer. Schaefer trying to make some hay on the outside. Cortez and Sturgill do battle down the back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the whole field's going to be looking at how well Michael Sturgill is going to be able to defend off Vincent Cortez with these new tires. See, maybe if this is a little bit of a strategy game here that some of these guys can play off, if how well Michael Sturgill holds this off. Almost contact there on the straightaway. A lot of side drafting going on for Vincent Cortez on this top lane. Trying to get the lead here from Michael Sturgill. It looks like Vincent Cortez is going to try to get the power on the outside a little bit. Almost contact there off the exit of 2. Now Reese Schaefer's even going to look to the outside here as Michael Sturgill had a moment.
Yeah, Schaefer got a huge run. He entered way high into turn number 1, drove it down the hill, got a huge run on the outside, cleared Bobby Anderson, and as Cortez clears to the lead over Michael Sturgill, Schaefer now side by side with Sturgill for second.
Yeah, and a very good run so far for Bobby Anderson. That strategy paid off pretty well for him as Michael Sturgill launches up the track. He's going to have a moment. Oh my. Almost a big wreck almost happened there between him and Reese Schaefer. But Bobby Anderson is definitely one of these drivers that needs a good run, needs points. Big driver that needs points. A lot of these guys that we saw close to the cut line having struggles tonight. This might be a big night for Bobby Anderson to leapfrog some of these guys in the points.
They're going at it here. The two drivers on older tires here. And Bobby Anderson and Michael Sturgill. Dean Brummett trying to sift his way through. Balliet in the 7 truck up to 7th behind Ryan Johnson in 6th in that 38 machine. Cortez trying to get out and away from this battle. Schaefer trying to do the same.
Man, this side by side behind them is definitely helping. Bobby Anderson and Michael Sturgill are fighting off for this 3rd position. This looks like a battle between 3rd, 4th, and 5th with Dean Brummett also getting in the mix. Sturgill's truck just looks like it does not handle the bottom as well on these older tires compared to some of these guys. He's ripping the top really well, keeping up distance with these guys on newer tires, but I don't know if he's going to win this battle going into 3 and 4 as Dean Brummett looks like he's going to clear easily for that 4th position on Michael Sturgill.
So there you go, the top 5 nearly settled. Brummett now tries to work on Bobby Anderson as he tries to work forward. Now Ryan Johnson has a move to make here on Michael Sturgill. How is he going to be able to do it before allowing Balliet through?
And I think Dean's realizing here, I think he has to get clear of both Sturgill and Anderson as fast as possible. I don't think he wants to let Reese Schaefer or Vincent Cortez, who are on the same tire strategy as him, get away too far, or else he might have to play a little bit of a different strategy. Dean's really ripping the bottom right now. He got a heck of a run off of 4. He's going to look to the inside of Reese Schaefer for second, as we also have battles back here between Ryan M. Johnson and Joshua Balliet.
So as that transpires, you're right, Brummett clears by Schaefer for second. And now Brummett sets his sights on Vincent Cortez. There's that battle we were just mentioning and just watching before. And Ryan Johnson and Joshua Balliet, they go at it side by side into the corner. Balliet just taps the apron, has to lift a little bit to not wash up into the 38 on his high side. And they continue on through the quad oval. Out in front, it is Vincent Cortez trying to fend off Dean Brummett now. Brummett coming for a huge head of steam.
And I'm curious to know how much tire is Dean Brummett abusing here As we saw Ryan M. Johnson in the back there getting a little bit dicey against the wall. He's trying to get around Michael Sturgill right now for 5th, but I'm really curious to see how much tire Dean's really putting to use trying to get past all these trucks. Hopefully he's not using too much tire because then we'll see him fall off, but he's looking to the outside for the lead here, Emerson, off the front straightaway.
Going at it for a race lead here on lap 48. Brummett working to the high side here. Cortez, he's been in some battles with Dean Brummett in SRN. They've been some high-spirited battles. This one's going to be side by side for the race lead. Brummett with the run up off the corner. Cortez has the preferred line into 3.
Yeah, the question is who's going to be able to get the power down faster going out of 4. Who's going to get the better run? But it looks like Dean washed up the track a little bit on the outside lane, helping Cortez maybe get a little bit more of a nose out ahead. But Dean's going to come right back on that outside going into turn 1. Dean put the power down. Going into turns 1 and 2. He's clear for the moment. Is Vincent Cortez going to have anything to say about it off the exit of 2?
Brummett's going to use all that hill and clear to the race lead. Dean Brummett, the new leader here in the Lone Star State. And now Cortez will have to sit back, study the 31, and see if he can find a way back as Balliette's going to power his way through Bobby Anderson. Ryan Johnson did so as well. And so it is Dean Brummett, Vincent Cortez, Reese Schaefer, Ryan Johnson, and Joshua Balliette then the top 5. Cal Westwood up there in that 7th position. He's doing a great job as somebody who could use a great run today. I told you to watch out for that 48. So far, so good as he tries to work his way forward to 6th.
Yeah, very quiet night. Nice and steady for that 48. Had a little bit of an issue there earlier with that first yellow he had. But other than that, it's keeping his truck clean, keeping his truck out front in the top 10. Nice job for the 48 so far tonight. But I mean, looking at this top 5, Emerson, I'm not really surprised to see who's all in this top 5, top 10 range. I mean, these have all been drivers that contended for wins this whole year. You know, looking at Dean Brummett, Reese Schaefer, Ryan M. Johnson, Joshua Balliette. These guys have all been here and done that before. They've won races in the SRNs, in the Speed Racing Network Series. Vincent Cortez, who's been an Xfinity regular this year, he's also won many races in the past. All these guys are really, really favored to win races, but Dean definitely's had a really great year this year in the truck series, as long as Joshua Balliette as well. But Dean's been really good on these 1.5 miles, so I'm not really surprised to see Dean out front tonight so far.
Yeah, up here in this top 5, we have the top 4 seeds in the playoffs and the Z Grill Series regular. Of those top 4 seeds in the playoffs, Ed, only one driver has yet to win. It's at 17 of Reese Schaefer. And of course, Vincent Cortez searching for his first win on the season, but he missed several races at the start of the season as well. So not really tallying up to the same mark as the others because he missed so many races to start this season. But still going at it here with Dean Brummett. 4 of a race lead here at Texas could potentially get it done then.
Yeah, he made Dean do a little bit of mirror driving there. I don't know if you saw that ever since Vincent Cortez was all over the back of Dean Brummett there off of 4. It looks like Vincent Cortez is a little bit better here in 3 and 4 than Dean Brummett. As you see here, he closes a little bit more on the rear bumper and that spoiler of Dean Brummett. He's going to be all over the back of him, maybe even try to loosen them up a little bit going in entry, but Dean just works his magic here in the 1 and 2, drives it in a little bit more deeper, makes it stick better on the bottom. But, I mean, it's just like playing cat and mouse, you know? One driver's better at one area, the other driver's better than the other. It's just going to be a moment in time where one driver's going to figure out both areas is going to be able to drive away.
Absolutely. The thing is, I think it might take a little bit. As right now, it is kind of the 2 ends of the speedway that service the other. Here we have a battle brewing for 3rd, and it's the teammates.
Yeah, Joshua Balliette and Reese Schaefer for 3rd. It looks like Reese is just going to give way and let Joshua Balliette get the spot right there. Ryan M. Johnson also looking behind Reese Schaefer, but I don't think he's going to be able to get anything going. Actually, Reese had a little bit of a moment there. So did Vincent Cortez up front. Vincent Cortez lost a little bit of time as well. Now Ryan M. Johnson looks to the inside of Reese Schaefer, the 3 and 4, and Ryan will clear Reese Schaefer for that position. I believe that was for P5 right there. So Joshua Balliette and Ryan M. Johnson both making their ways to the front, as Joshua Balliette now is going to look to the outside of Vincent Cortez for 2nd, going into turns 1 and 2.
I think Vinny got tight, and whether he hit the wall or tried to make avoiding action to not hit the wall, that could have been huge. Now slides up in front of Balliette. Balliette drops down. These are teammates going at it. Well, Vinny went defensive into 1. He can't do the same here into 3. They'll be side by side. Vinny pinning down Balliette. That's a teammate. They're going at it hard.
I don't know how Joshua Balliette's going to appreciate that, and all this is going to allow Ryan M. Johnson to get into this battle as well, but this is also helping Dean Brummett pull a little bit of distance from both of these guys. It looks like Joshua Bellaire's going to put the power down early and slide up in front of that 23 and get clear. But now Ryan M. Johnson's also going to look to the inside.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson is there. He files in behind the 7. Now Vinny has a chance to drop down. No, Johnson gets down there before him. Johnson bounces off the apron. Now Vinny bounces off the apron. Balliet straightens the wheel out. He is now setting his sights on Dean Brummett. Great stuff going on up front here.
Yeah, like I said, Emerson, I was curious to see who of these drivers are going to push a little bit too early and see the fall off. I think we're starting to see it a little bit early here with Vincent Cortez and Reese Schaefer having a little bit of issues, possibly tapping the apron, getting a little bit too much rotation into their trucks, and we're seeing it prevail as Joshua Balliet and Ryan M. Johnson now have entered the party here for the mix for the lead.
Absolutely. We'll look a little ways further back in some battles here. We have Bobby Anderson. No, yeah, this is Bobby Anderson and Tyler Markle. Anderson on the older tires, Markle taking advantage of his newer tires, some of the newest tires in the field for that 42 machine. Tyler Markle narrowly missed his way into the playoffs last week out in Phoenix, and they're going to come together.
Yeah, they did a little bit of touching and banging there, a little bit off it too. I don't know if Bobby Anderson's going to appreciate that being a playoff driver, but I was going to mention, Emerson, Tyler Markle's really having a really decent night. I know he's not having the season he's hoped for. Like you mentioned, missed the playoffs by barely a little bit there, but I definitely think this is going to be a little bit of redemption for Tyler Markle if he gets a good finish tonight. You know, end up on a high note for the season. You know, as all these drivers are not in the playoffs, I mean, they're still trying to get wins. You know, every race pays out for some positions too. Emerson.
Absolutely.
You know, everybody wants to get paid at some point. You know, but you know, all these drivers just want to come out here and show out and do what they can to maybe get the best finishes of their careers. We see Kyle Vincent Gilbert. Looks like having going a lap down, I believe, there. So that's going to be big for him. I mean, a playoff driver with big issues. Remember, he got in that wreck earlier. This is not how you want to start your playoffs.
Yeah, this is something else. He's not running fast laps right now. He's running about a second off the pace. He's running way up there. Intriguing to see how he is able to fare the rest of the way. Part of the good thing is that he's sticking it out here, and he's going to give it his all, even through the checkered flag, even if he's a lap down. He's going to stay in this race and fight it out. You know, anything can and almost anything will happen. Oh my goodness. Very much off the pace there as more trucks nearly clobber him there off the corner.
Yeah, one truck in particular I'm looking at who's really having not so good of a second run here after that stage is Brad Herman. He's running in 12th position right now. Remember, he was our pole sitter for tonight. Ran that top 5 most of the stage there until the stage caution came out, but looks like he's just not firing off as well, or he's just, you know, taking a little bit more conservative route with his tires, waiting for this long run to continue. But I don't know. It's just not the run I was expecting out of Brad Herman tonight.
Things are tightening up front for the race lead. Balliet is there on Dean Brummett. The two winningest drivers on the season. One of them wants to get, or both of them want to get their fifth, but only one of them could be able to out of this battle if either one of them wins it. Wow. You know, I don't know where I was going with that tangent, but these are the winningest drivers we've got up front going at it for the race lead.
Yeah, and I think Balliet's found something in that turns 1 and 2 that Dean is probably going to take notice of here in a little bit. If we see going into turns 1 and 2 here, Joshua Balliet's riding up a little bit higher, giving more clean air to his nose into turns 1 and 2 than Dean Brummett here. You can see a little bit on that entry. He gives a little bit more clean air than Dean Brummett. That allows Josh to get the run off the exit and close a little bit of the gap here. And, you know, I've been looking at the times too. Joshua Balliet and Dean Brummett are kind of neck and neck on times, but it looks like Joshua Balliet's truck is a little bit more comfortable than Dean Brummett's at the moment.
It certainly seems like it. If you look at the last laps that if you've been watching the way I have, they've been swapping back and forth best lap. That last one was to Dean Brummett's favor. This one is to Balliet's favor. So they continue to swap last laps.
Yeah, and all of this, it looks like the field is starting to single file out a little bit. The biggest battle that I see that's going to come up in a little bit here is definitely Kyle Westwood and Reese Schaefer. Kyle Westwood's been running some really decent lap times, and I'm overhearing on the radio here a little bit, Emerson. It looks like a green flag stop's happening.
Leaders in. This is huge.
Oh,
get down to pit speed. Oh,
speed.
Baby. More JBR trucks coming in. Bobby Anderson sideways.
Wow. He almost wrecked it on that pit road entry here. You gotta remember, Emerson, these guys are going from about like 160, 170 miles an hour all the way down to 45. That's a really rough pit road, especially with all these old tires. You might slide up a little bit. Gotta make sure you don't slide in your box, make a mistake. But I'm wondering with Dean Brummett and Bobby Anderson, is that gonna pull any more drivers here?
Looking at this, Balliet does not come in the next lap, so Balliet's gonna ride this one out. Intriguing strategy call there. I think he wants the fresher tires at the end of this race. He's already been fast enough to work his way forward, and Balliet's gonna work that one. Now, Dean Brummett's gonna come out here on the pit exit here. He did come out, or well, he did get it down to pit lane speed. He's coming out at a normal interval down to the leaders. He's got the fresh equipment here, but Ed, yes, there is a fall off here, but it's not that great of a fall off. If you look at the fastest lap time, it's only about a second faster than the last lap time, while other tracks are talking about 2, maybe 3-second fall off.
And I was really curious what brought in Dean Brummett there. It's not like he was falling off crazy. I mean, he was our leader, you know? And Balliet wasn't really gaining as much. I mean, maybe he would have got there in the next like couple, maybe like 5 laps or so. But it wasn't like he was falling off crazy. So I'm really curious how, you know, that's going to pay off for Dean. Yeah, it's like I mentioned, it's like you pit early, you're almost like trying to overlap the guy a little bit. But now, you know, you're allowing Joshua Balliet, Vincent Cortez, and all these other guys to get a little bit more fresher tire than you. They're going to be able to go a little bit harder than you at the end of these runs.
Absolutely, and here's that battle you mentioned, Ed, that could have been brewing up here. Ryan Johnson sits in front of this, but Reese Schaefer and Kyle Westwood for that, what is now the 4th position after Brummett pitted, going at it here. And Westwood is there. He's stalking the 17 machine. Wondering if he needs to get a glass of milk later, but he's working to the outside, not able to get the run there.
No, and I'm really impressed with this 48 mission. I mean, like you mentioned, you picked him as one of your little sleepers there to maybe possibly have a great night tonight. And he's definitely showing he has a great piece tonight. I mean, he had that little issue I mentioned earlier in that race with that little caution in the first couple laps, but he's been able to hang on really well to this top 5, top 6 group. I mean, it's really interesting to see, but I'm still trying to scratch my head on this Dean Brummett thing. I just don't understand what Dean was maybe possibly thinking, if he thought maybe he would be able to drag a couple people with him and maybe get them off strategy. But I mean, as long as these guys are running, I mean, you know, Joshua Balliet's running about 30, high 31s, and Dean, you know, definitely running a little bit faster, but it's got to be sooner than later. You think that Joshua Balliet and Vincent Cortez and some of these guys pit.
Absolutely. And here's, I think, the other process, right? The other thought maybe was that he's short pitting. Here comes Balliet. I was going to say the pit stops are going to happen now because this is halfway through stage 2. Oh, sideways, the both of them.
You got a little sketchy for both of them on that speed there. I saw Vincent Cortez. He was close, so it might be interesting to see if Vinny maybe sped. I know it looked like Balliet was okay, but it was definitely close.
Well, we'll see here as they're in the box. And we'll watch the pit stop time. Also in Byron McDonald. And should be down and away here for Balliet. Yes, it is. So here is Dean Brummett off of turn number 4 as Ryan Johnson. I'm sorry, Kyle Westwood will pit. And so we'll be looking at it here. Dean Brummett there on the track. Balliet's behind. So this is going to be a huge gap for Dean Brummett. But he's going to have a 5-lap difference in tires. We'll jump back out in front. Ryan Johnson, Reese Schaefer. The top 2 is Kyle Westwood in that 48 machine pits.
And I think a lot of these guys are going to start thinking about pitting here in these next couple laps. With
here comes Ryan Johnson.
Balliet and Vincent Cortez came in. I mean, this has to be the time you make that money stop.
Yeah, this is it. Now Hostler, Markle, Zimmerman, they're going to stay out here. Hostler, a playoff driver, but Markle and Zimmerman, non-playoff drivers going at it. You know, trying to maybe snag a yellow or something. And
I think the one person I think has to play this out and hopefully wait for a caution is that guy running at 5th position right now.
Michael Politis.
Sure. He has not had the night he's wanted tonight. And I think he has to play a little bit of a different strategy here and maybe hope and pray for a caution to maybe change his luck and help him get on with the leaders. But it looks like he's coming into pit road now as well.
He's going to jump Devin Zimmerman on the stop as well. Everyone is in now. As Branson McCannon now takes over the race lead.
And Vincent Cortez overlapped Ryan Johnson and Reese Schaefer off of that pit exit there. Ryan Johnson just got off a pit exit along with Reese Schaefer, and Kyle Westwood actually also overlapped Reese Schaefer.
That's intriguing as Branson McCannon is coming down pit lane now. The leader is in, and this is going to cycle the field out with 36 laps to go. Here from Texas, as McKinnon comes in. Dean Brummett turns 3 and 4. We'll take over the race lead, and he's got a 5-second advantage over Joshua Balliet. The difference is Balliet has 6 lap pressure tires. Will that make the difference up?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you could see it on the lap times right now, Emerson. I mean, Dean Brummett that last time was about a 30.2, and Balliet was a little bit the same there. I mean, the lap before, it was a big difference between Balliet and Dean Brummett, but I think Balliet had a little bit of issues with traffic getting through with some lap cars getting in his way, and some people still coming off of pit road, but we're all cycled out now. I'm pretty sure now with Branson McCanning just coming off a pit road exit there, getting his 1 lap lead.
Oh, no. Tyler Markle sped on pit lane. He was in the box for 55 seconds, which is the typical 15-second pit stop plus the 40-second hold. Oh, my goodness.
And that's unfortunate. I mean, he was having such a great night, too.
Yeah, it was going to definitely be a motivating run for Tyler Markle, and he'll have his pace to hang a hat on tonight, but that is going to be unfortunate for Tyler Markle. Sean Jensick is in the pit lane, one of the last pitters here.
Yeah, and I was going to mention Emerson, too. This is his 2nd time in. So he must have had an issue on track or something happened to him. This is his 2nd time on pit road.
And this one's a long stop here. If he drops the jack here... Oh, he's still in the pit.
I'm looking closely, too. He has left front damage.
Oh, wow.
On that left side of that truck. So I don't know if something happened maybe on his outlap coming off a pit road, or I don't know. But another one of the playoff drivers, again, with issues.
Yeah, this one's going to be intriguing. He's still down there, though. That's intriguing for one of the playoff drivers. We'll keep tabs on Sean Jensick. Out in front, Dean Brummett has a 3.7-second lead, but Balliet behind is running half a second faster, trying to chase that lead down. Battles going on here. Reese Schaefer, Ryan Johnson, and Gabriel Ellison going at it for 5th. Kyle Westwood up to 4th. Great run for him.
Yeah, that's one name we haven't talked about much tonight, Emerson. Another one of those playoff guys who's having a good night. Gabriel Ellison. I mean, he started a little bit back there, and you mentioned he was one of the biggest sleepers there who started all the way in the back, went up in the top 10 for the stage, and looks like he could power around the outside of Ryan M. Johnson there for that 6th position.
Yeah, so they go at it here. Of course, Gabriel Ellison, it was our Kansas race winner, so a little bit of confidence in his favor at these 1.5 miles. Now, Kansas not anywhere near the same shape as Texas, but still 1.5 mile configuration, maybe something in the favor of Gabriel Ellison as he tries to chase down 5th place driver Reese Schaefer. He powered by Ryan Johnson, both of them, Schaefer and Ellison. They go at it here.
And I'm looking a little bit further back, and one of those guys that pitted along with Joshua Balliet, Vincent Cortez, he just has been able to fire off as well as Joshua Balliet. He must have had something going on with his truck or something's going on. He's lost about 3 to 4 positions. He just lost one to Lane Hosler, just lost another one to Brad Herman. He's fallen all the way back to 10th.
And that's going to be intriguing to keep our tabs on Vincent Cortez down in the 10th position. Looking like another day not going his way down as a visitor in the Glytch Truck Series. Ryan Johnson and Lane Hosler going at it. Johnson looking a little off the pace. Not off the pace, but not looking as fast as what he was earlier. Getting overtaken here by Lane Hosler, and they pitted only 1 lap apart. Hosler with 1 lap fresher tires, but made easy work of Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, Hosler looks like he's got a really great truck right now. I mean, he passed him like he was standing still.
Here we go.
Almost.
Look at that. Westwood on Sturgill. That's for 3rd. It's going to be a huge pass.
Yeah, Westwood definitely is having a great night. I mean, he came off a pit road and still been firing off really great lap times. He's running lap times almost comparable to our top 3 right now, or our top 2.
Yeah, he's running the same lap times as the leader. And that was while passing somebody. So very, very nice lap there from Kyle Westwood. Very good run. I didn't, I wasn't sure what he was going to be able to do tonight, but I figured somebody who's desperate enough, somebody who's in the right position to make their way forward in the point standings with a chance to work their way forward. He's having a great first race of this opening round of the playoffs. We'll see if he can keep it up tonight and see what he can put himself into position for the rest of the round. But 26 laps to go here at Texas, and this battle for 5th continues on. Schaefer, Hostler, and Ellison now. Hostler, he closed up on his battle quick. He made his way past Ellison. Now looking to make his way past Schaefer. And then next up is Michael Sturgill. Lane Hostler is on a mission.
Yeah, and all three of these guys were gaining on Michael Sturgill really quickly. And Lane Hosler, like you mentioned, he's just on rails right now. I don't know what he had in his breakfast this morning, maybe a nice bowl of Wheaties or something like that, but he is on a tear right now. He's passing trucks left and right. He is just gaining on every single one of these trucks in front of him, doing it with purpose. I mean, these playoffs, you got to have fast trucks. You got to have confidence, and looks like Lane Hosler has all the confidence in the world right now.
He's got a good bit of confidence as he tries to chase down Kyle Westwood up the road. Hostler pitted 2 laps later than Kyle Westwood, and that would be a battle for 3rd. And Dean Brummett's in!
Oh, wow.
Intriguing. Brummett going for the 2-stop strategy. And we'll see how this one plays out, if he's going to drag anyone in. But Balliet, he's got a 6-second lead now over the rest of the field.
Again, Emerson, I don't know if this is something I would do. I don't know about the 2-stop strategy. I mean, depending on how bad Joshua Balliet could fall off, I mean, that could play a factor unless Dean gets a caution or something. But, I mean, you got to think, Dean's using his last set of tires here. I mean, and it's about 20 to go. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up to Joshua Balliet as fast as possible. I mean, he just went a lap down there. No, I don't. I don't know.
I mean, even if he gains a second a lap, he's over a lap down, which is 30 seconds at a lap. So even if he gains a second a lap for the last 23 laps, he's still going to end up at max, at best, 7 seconds behind Balliet, which is 3rd right now. I mean, he's not running the greatest strategy unless something falls his way.
Yeah, unless he gets an untimely caution. And
the good thing for Brummett is he's got the points to be able to pull off this kind of an experiment in the first race of the playoffs. He is pretty much locked in at the drop of the green flag today. So if there's anyone who can, you know, pull off a wacky strategy and not worry about the consequences, it's this guy. That and, you know, Balliet, who was just a few points ahead of him in the playoffs, but both of them essentially locked in on the green flag tonight.
Yeah, and I know we're talking about fast trucks right now, and Lane Hosler is catching Kyle Westwood again, Emerson. I mean, Lane Hosler just has something in his truck that none of these other trucks have right now. I mean, Kyle Westwood having a great night overall, yes, but Lane Hosler, I don't know what, unless they snuck a adjustment on that pit road strategy and we didn't know about it, but my man is just hauling right now, the mail.
And you know, Ed, if you think back to your time in the Cup Series as well, he's always one of those drivers. He wouldn't wow you early. He would show up late. He would always have those long runs. I think that's how he got himself into the Championship 5 one of those years. Just golden on the long run, especially at these intermediate tracks. Lane Hostler would just be that almost a closer type of effect, like Kevin Harvick in the prime of his career. He would come out of nowhere and be a factor late.
Hey, you remember what they usually call Kevin Harvick in those days, Emerson? The closer.
Yeah.
And I mean, Lane Hosler closes races when he needs to. I mean, like you said, he doesn't fire off right off the rip. He waits it out, sees what he's got to do, and he shows up in the end. I mean, I talked to Politis a lot when I was in the Cup Series. And I was telling him about how Hosler has just been one of those drivers that he has got to really appreciate that he has. I mean, Politis has had great drivers drive for his teams and stuff, but Hosler is just one of those consistent kind of guys that, you know, you put him in your truck or your car, you're going to get a good finish out of it no matter what. And Hosler's definitely done that. I know he hasn't had the season he's wanted, but I mean, still, I mean, this would be a great start to the first round of the playoffs. And
Absolutely.
Definitely keep your competition on notice.
100% agree. Lane Hostler, again, you know, you and I, we both raced in the Cup Series in the previous seasons of SRN. We had to race against this guy, and you know, just when you think you're sitting pretty and you're kind of tallying, okay, you know, this is where I'm going to finish on today, here he comes, 20 laps to go, passing you up, and you're like, well, that's a spot. I didn't think about losing.
Oh, he was definitely one of the hardest guys to pass, I will tell you that much. I think I battled him at least, I think at Homestead at one point, I battled him for 20 laps straight side by side. It was just frustrating. But I mean, he was just kept it in there and was able to get around me on the outside and just made it look easy. I mean, he it's like he knows a little bit something different that you don't. Like that's how you feel sometimes. But he always has that little secret, little 5% that he can give you at the end of runs, and I think
Yep.
we're seeing it here where he got around Westwood just now for second. I don't know if he's gonna have enough left in the tank to get the Valiette.
That's a tall
But
ask.
it might be close. Like I feel like he'll get close enough to where it might be good enough. But it looks like Westwood's starting to see a little bit of struggle as we see like back in there. We see Reese Schaefer, Gabriel Ellison all closing in on Westwood. I think we're starting to see the tire fall off start to happen here. So I mean, it could happen at any moment. You never know. So I think Hosler just needs to focus on trying to get as much distance as he can so he doesn't fall back to these guys like Kyle Westwood is here now with 3 cars and a blanket underneath them trying to get by him.
Absolutely. So now Kyle Westwood, who's sitting on the podium with 15 laps to go, if he's going to work on salvaging advancement into the next round of playoffs, it's going to start here with fending off some of the best here in the series. And Reese Schaefer, Gabriel Ellison, Brad Herman. I mean, behind him, think about it. Reese Schaefer, probably the most consistent driver in the series without a win. Gabriel Ellison, a Kansas race winner. Brad Herman, a 2-time winner on the season behind him. All trying to overtake this guy. New kid on the block this season. And trying to prove himself in this series. And this is going to be a chance to do that.
Yeah, and he's definitely doing a great job overall tonight. And I think definitely no matter what, he shouldn't hang his head on anything. I mean, he might not get the finish that he expected or wanted. You know, he may have wanted the win. We don't know. I mean, I didn't talk to the guy before the race, so. But I think no matter what, I think where he finishes tonight, inside the top 5 or, you know, outside the top 5, he had a good night overall. He got stage points. He's got a clean truck, and he's going to finish decently where he expected. One thing I want to mention too, Emerson. Another one of these playoff drivers went on the same strategy as Dean Brummett. Just a little bit ago, I saw Michael Sturgill go on the pit road and take tires. So I think he's another one of those guys that's on that same strategy as Dean. But that's a little bit more confusing for Sturgill because I think he's in a little bit more of a bigger risk than where Dean Brummett is. So that again, it's like one of those strategies I don't really understand. But, I mean, I don't know what everyone's thinking here if the 2-stop might work or not.
Well, at this point, I don't know if a 2-stop is working, man. I mean, we're 12 laps to go. This is a maybe a call for help if you're pulling a 2-stop at this point. Or I'm not sure what, but Sturgill, yep, there he is. Brummett, he did unlap himself from Joshua Balliet, but Dean Brummett is still, well, 28 seconds back of Balliet, 29.3. Out in front, Balliet, he's got a 5.5-second lead. Lane Hostler is closing big time. And hold on, Hostler's catching quick.
Yeah, I was going to say something, Emerson. It's about a 0.5 of a second that he's gaining on him a lap. And it's, I don't know, Joshua Balliet's close on fuel. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, I think there's about a little over 30 laps of fuel left in these guys' tanks to make it to the end of the 30 or 40 laps, somewhere in there. And I'm trying to think when Balliet pit. I think Balliet pit, what was it, just a little after 80, correct, if I'm wrong? I'm not entirely sure.
Balliet, he pit on lap 71. But Lane Hostler pit on lap 74. Now, he's back to it. He hasn't lost that much time, but there was a lap there. He was really slow. He was almost a whole 10th. Almost, actually, was that more of a whole second off the pace?
Yeah, I think it was about a second. It was like a 31.9 to a 31.0.
Yeah, very intriguing. He's picked it back up. So he should be okay if he can maintain that, but not entirely sure what happened here. And this may be something to investigate post-race if we get the chance.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened, but oh my goodness, look at all these cars under a blanket. I mean, this is third to what? 6th right here?
Yeah.
About third to 6th. And it looks like Westwood got finally passed by both Gabe Ellison and Reese Schaefer, and now he's trying to hold off Brad Herman, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that here. But overall, I think Westwood should be happy no matter where he ran tonight. It was definitely a good race overall for him, but looks like Reese Schaefer's back in our top 3, and I think Gabe Ellison might have something to show here as he's going to the inside of him going into turn 3.
Battle for third, it's raging on. Both these drivers, they pitted on the same lap, so in theory, should be equal tires. And they're going at it. And if you had any doubts about Balliet, well, that time he has opened the gap on Lane Hostler. So
I think he was just trying to give us a scare there.
Maybe. Give us
I
some
feel like it was one of those
entertainment.
moments he was just trying to scare us in the booth here. Like, what is going on? Is he running out of fuel? But no, he's definitely picked it up here. And I definitely want to give a shout out to Gabe Ellison. I mean, Gabe Ellison's one of the good friends of mine, and he's definitely one of those, like we mentioned with Lane Hosler, one of those consistent SRN drivers. He's been around SRN for a little bit.
Absolutely.
And he's had great finishes. He's had good wins, and he's definitely having a great season in SRN. And I definitely would like to see him do well here. I think I'm teammates with him in future races and other leagues, but he's a good friend of mine, a really great dude overall, and definitely good to see him running well here and seeing him compete for wins in the SRN series.
Yeah, absolutely. Gabriel Ellison was one of those drivers. He ran really well when he ran the Cup Series a couple seasons ago. He didn't run it in the most recent seasons of SRN, but he did run when SRN first started out, the first 2-3 seasons of SRN. Ellison was there, and he was a prominent driver up inside the top 5 most of those seasons, top 10 for sure. And here he is. He comes back, and he's doing the same thing, pretty much picking up right where he left off.
Yeah, another driver behind him, Brett Herman. I mean, I mentioned it looked like he was off the pace for a while. He was like back in 12th for a moment and had the pole and everything. He's definitely told me to be quiet and got himself back up in this top 5 position. Definitely a good overall finish for him tonight. I know it's not probably where he wanted to finish. I think he had aspirations for maybe a top 3 finish or something like that. But
oh, Balliette's in.
Oh my! I was gonna say I saw something happen with him on the.
Oh no!
I don't know what happened here.
Was fuel a concern?
I think it might actually be a concern. Now the question is, like you mentioned, Lane Hosler is just a couple laps after him. Can Lane make it on fuel?
Oh my goodness, what is going on here? 3 laps to go from Fort Worth. And let's be real, we don't know where anyone's going to end up.
No, and Reese Schaefer and Gabe Ellison are starting to close a little bit on Lane Hosler too.
That's right.
Oh my goodness, we might have a fuel strategy on our hands here, Emerson. This might come down to the wire.
It's going to be a shootout here in Texas. This time that'll be 2 laps to go, 3 miles to settle it. Lane Hosler has a 1.1 second advantage. If he's close on fuel, he should start saving now. 2 laps to go. Well, this race has turned upside down, and you have to wonder, Ed, with Balliette having a 4.9 second lead, why didn't he try to save more, or was he trying to save more? Now Westwood is off the pace, losing a couple spots.
Yeah, he's really off the pace too. He was a whole 2 seconds slower than our leaders there. I think a lot of these drivers are really close on fuel, Emerson. I think we got to watch for some of these guys to maybe start sputtering as we hit the white flag for Lane Hosler.
1 lap to go in Texas. Schaefer closes the gap now to under a second. Is Hosler gonna be able to make it? 9/10 of a second. Hosler trying to coast it around. 8/10 of a second. If that thing is still under power, he might be able to coast it around from here. Off of turn number 4. Lane Hosler is going to win here at Texas. Reese Schaefer second, Gabriel Ellison third. In a wild turn of events here at the end.
I honestly cannot believe how this just ended. I didn't even think fuel mileage would be a factor going into this. I thought everybody would be just about even to close on fuel, but what a race from Lane Hosler. I mean, like we said, Emerson, the closer, we call him the Kevin Harvick, and he able to close it out and get the win here in Texas. And not only that, Emerson, he's punching in the next round.
He punches his ticket into the round of 10. Absolutely there, Ed. 5 top 5s, 9 top 10s on the season. Now make it 6 and 10. But for the first time this season, it's a win. And I think he was out of fuel because I think Ryan Johnson's giving him that little push.
Hope he was happy we didn't have 111 laps.
Oh my goodness. And so how about it? I guess we'll bring on up the driver who is sitting in EPI victory lane this evening. Driver of the number 61, Lane Hosler. And Lane, for the first time this season, you are a winner here in SRN. How about it? Wild turn of events. We had no idea fuel was going to become an issue. But all of a sudden, if it worked out in your favor here at the end.
Oh man, I have no words. I'm out of breath and shaking. I I don't even know what to say.
That is fair enough. What we do know, Lane, you have punched your ticket into the next round of the playoffs. I know you came into today's race maybe not sure. You came in as the ninth seed. You were only 5 points to the good, and now you don't have anything to worry about heading into Watkins Glen and Dover. How do you feel about that?
I am so happy to not have to worry about Watkins Glen. I know I'm somewhat decent at road courses around here with everybody, but it makes me nervous every time we go to a road course. It could either go really well or really bad. And then honestly, lately I've had no luck at Dover, so I am so happy to get that out of the way.
Well, it is absolutely a flip turn, at least this month of your season around, and you're setting yourself up for a round 10 race. Now, this first win on the season, Lane, not to couple along with your consistency so far this season. How do you feel now? Kind of this newly found confidence, newly found motivation, momentum as you try to work your way through these final 6 races on the season.
I honestly I haven't thought past tonight. I put so much work in tonight. I've not done so much math for a race in my life until this weekend. So I've been kind of crunching numbers and lap times for the last 24 hours. So I'm happy that it's over.
Well, tell us about it. You know, what was going on through your mind now it's over. Maybe if you want to peel back the curtain a little bit, what was going on through your mind in preparation for the race, the strategies, and all that jazz?
So the best run that I could do was 40 laps, and
Ah.
I knew that I could make it 40 laps. So at the end of the stage, I was like, I'm going to pit. I'm going to pit twice, and I'm going to commit to this and hope it works out. And then we got a couple of quick cautions there, and I'm like, man, it's even easier now. Maybe I won't have to save as bad. And then there toward the end, I still ended up wanting to save a little bit because I ended up running out of gas going into turn one after taking the checkered flag. So we definitely pushed it to the limit tonight.
Well, Lane, for it is your first win on the season. You can take that monkey off your back. You're into the round of 10. You can throw that one off your back as well, Lane. You can sit easy next couple weeks. You set yourself up for the round of 10 and try to work yourself into that championship 5 lane. Congratulations on the win this evening here in Fort Worth. Best luck to you the rest of the way.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And definitely thank you to everybody at Team Pilot and Ryan and Mike and Brian. We put in a ton of laps the last couple of days, and it definitely paid off.
It certainly did this evening, Lane. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was our race winner, then driver of the number 61, Lane Hostler, and Reese. I'm sorry, Ed. You're gonna talk to our second place finisher, Reese Schaefer, about his wild topsy turvy night. He'll come up with another second place finish here at Texas for Reese.
Yeah, Reese Schaefer, our stage winner overall tonight. Reese, you finished second tonight overall. I know it's not what you had in mind. I think you had a pretty good truck out there tonight, but I mean, from how chaotic the whole beginning of that race was, did you expect what was going to happen there towards the end?
No, absolutely not. That was a honestly probably one for the ages, really just chaotic kind of race. It was, we restarted back going, and we had that, that quick yellow there or whatever, and Ben Gibbs goes over and goes, "Hey, bro, you gotta start saving big time. I think it's gonna be a Phil Maj one." He's like, "Think so?" He's like, "Yeah, I got a feeling." So sure enough, start saving first run, and we're hitting the second run there, and I know Gabe is, he's always the fuel save guy. So when I was around him, I was like, okay, I must be doing pretty good on pace, fuel save wise. And then all of a sudden, Lane gets by me and Ben goes, "Oh yeah, we need to pass that guy." And I was like, "Oh god," because I was trying to save fuel, and I didn't think there was any way to get close to him. And I got the gap down to 0.7, 0.6, but even there at the line, I was at 0.2, so I couldn't really go any harder than I did. But yeah, shout out him going on the win. Shout out to Gabe. That was good battling him for the P2 spot there. And yeah, these fuel mileage races, I don't know why, but they just kind of come out of nowhere. And sure enough, we got another one here. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned, I mean, that the fuel mileage game was definitely something we and Emerson did not expect up here in the booth. I think we thought it was going to be pretty close, but we didn't expect all that to happen between Joshua Belliette and Dean Brummett. I mean, besides you guys were mainly the class of field tonight. I mean, you won the stage, and Dean and Joshua Belliette were having great runs overall. Now, I know Josh and Dean had good comfort in their point situations. You were also back there in that little bit of a comfort zone. I mean, with the stage win tonight and the good finish tonight, what's your comfort rating going into, two tricky tracks with Watkins Glen and Dover in the next two races?
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll probably be pretty close to clinching. I assume. I don't know point wise how it'll shake out, but yeah, Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen's. I mean, since it's been updated, right? The curbs there are so much fun, and people are just. I mean, it's gonna be really, really. The road course guys will shine, and honestly, I've been pretty proud of my road course game. I feel like I've improved a lot. I still got a long way to go, but I've improved a lot, and I been recent years been really happy with it. So we'll try to go out there, put another solid finish together at the road course, and then Dover's obviously, I don't think Timothy Latham was here tonight, but I expect Timothy Latham to be up front of Dover. That's kind of his track, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a good night overall for you and the 17 team at Tank Racing. Congratulations, Reese, on a great night tonight, and we'll be seeing you next week when we go to Watkins Glen and do some left and right turning.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you guys in the broadcast. Shout out the family out there. They're watching, and the Michigan Milk Producers Association Ford or Chevy rather was really fast tonight, and so I want to thank everybody for supporting as they usually do, and I, even those that don't say they're supporting, I know you're out there, so thank you.
Right on, and that was driver of the number 17, Reese Schaefer, our second place finisher this evening. Right on his tail, finishing in that third position, was the 27 of Gabriel Ellison. And Gabe, it's a nice start to your playoffs with a third place finish tonight. But walk us through your evening and how you ended up on the podium.
Yeah, started off qualified really bad, so that didn't help. But in the first stage, managed to bring it up in around 8th, I think, is where I finished. So I was right there. I knew from right at the beginning, looking at the laps, that you're going to make sure you want to save to the lap that I did, so that you wouldn't have to save too much on the back end. And me and Reese both did the exact same thing and finished right next to each other. But I think Lane topped off, and that was the difference. So great call for him there. Most of that race was just managing tires and fuel, though.
It seemed like it only there at the end to us. We had no idea fuel was a concern, right? In my head, when everyone pitted at 40 laps to go in a race, that is exactly what you should have done. Split the second stage in half in my mind. But it turns out, with 10 laps to go, everything gets blown open and it's a whole new race. So y'all did a great job of masking that and give us an entertaining race. But from your perspective, the aggressive racing up, at the front of this field, coupled with trying to save, how do you balance that? How do you balance trying to work forward but maintain your stuff?
I mean, honestly, my strategy at the big, they're racing really hard in the first stage, and I got a good restart at the beginning and hopped up around 10th, and I just figured I'd hang out because I was just waiting on the wreck, and then they did eventually. So there's just no point in getting involved when I knew it was just going to end up being fuel mileage anyways, and it was going to get all super spread out. So yeah, if I didn't think it was going to be fuel mileage in the second stage, you definitely got to get up there and mix it up some, because passing so hard here, once you get single filed out, it's hard to come by.
Absolutely. Well, Gabriel, you have done yourself a great service with getting this third place finish tonight. Next up is Watkins Glen. How do you feel about your chances there as you further try to work your way into the? Well, you were already up in the 50 in the playoffs, so this is going to help you stay up there. How do you feel about yourself and your chances of working yourself to the round of 10 with Watkins Glen and Dover coming up?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Watkins Glen, I'm not going to go over there and win and set the world on fire or anything, but I can put together a solid top 5, top 7 or 8, and between that and this, assuming I don't get crashed in the S's or anything, that should be enough to make Dover a shoe-in. When we get to the round of 10, it's going to be a lot more difficult, because I think all those bonus points go away completely and we're all even. So I'm just kind of trying to make sure I get 2 solid weeks and then look to the round of 10.
Absolutely. Well, Gabriel, congratulations on the third place finish tonight. The great run here from Valone Start State. Best luck to you next week in Watkins Glen.
Appreciate it.
And that was driver of the number 27, Gabriel Ellison. and how he got this third place finish tonight here in Texas. Well, Ed, that was a wild race. Again, I think, both of us being racers, now you race a little bit more, but racing the series, maybe we should have seen the fuel mileage gain coming a little bit sooner. But and maybe that explained why Dean was just going on the non-fuel mileage strategy. But we had no idea until Ballier drove it down the pit lane that fuel mileage was even a factor tonight. So we got an entertaining race and then a crazy end when we didn't think we were going to get a crazy end.
No, I mean, I was not expecting what we just saw towards the end. I mean, like we mentioned, Lane was going to get close to Balliet. We both predicted that, but we did not expect Balliet to have that kind of short fuel left on him. I mean, from that big of a gap, like you said, you would think he would have saved a little bit. I don't know what happened during that little cycle, but I guess it was just that much he had to save that he's just basically like, I think I'm just better off pitting. But I mean, Lane was just perfect on the strategy, like you mentioned. I mean, he put the math into figuring out how much he needed. I mean, that just goes to show you how much these playoff drivers are preparing for these races.
Absolutely.
The fact that Lane put that much time into figuring out the math, like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this, and I'll be able to make it to the end on fuel. And like Gabe said, he saw him top off in the end there, ended up being the race-winning move for Lane, in my opinion, right there when he topped off for fuel. And that literally is the difference between being there at the end and getting the win and being the guy that watches the guy doing the right strategy, being able to get the win by you. So, I mean, Balliet had the fastest truck overall, along with Dean. Ended up finishing back in the back top 10. Lane Hosler, we didn't talk about much in the beginning. Like we call him the closer, was there in the end to prevail and take the win.
I mean, phenomenal stuff. We'll go ahead and work through our race results this evening so we can kind of get some sort of idea on how everyone fared this evening. Ed, Lane Hosler with the race victory, Ray Schaefer second, Gabriel Ellison third, Brad Herman finishes fourth, Ryan Johnson in fifth, Brian McAvoy in sixth, Connor Cunningham, a good bounce back for him, up to seventh, Michael Politis eighth, Devin Zimmerman ninth, Vincent Cortez the top 10, Dean Brummett 11th, and Austin Purnell 12th. Ed, why don't you go ahead and walk us through 13th through 24th?
Yeah, 13th was Branson McCannon. 14th was Gerald Poole. Back in 15th was Kyle Westwood, who had a little bit of an issue, I believe, with fuel strategy towards the end there. 16th was Albert Hewins. 17th, we saw Joshua Belliet had a pit there for fuel, ended up finishing the last car on the lead lap in 17th. And then finishing one lap down in 18th was Michael Sturgill. Also back one lap down in 19th was Jim McDonald. 20th, Tyler Markle after a late race speeding penalty on the green flag pit stops. 21st, Bobby Anderson finished in the last car one lap down. Then finishing 3 laps down after an early wreck on 22nd was Kyle Fitzgilbert. Sean Jensick, who had an early issue with the green flag pit stops, finishes 23rd, 35 laps down. And Lane Doyle, who was involved in one of the early cautions we had, finishes in 24th, 56 laps down.
That is how they all came to the checkers this evening, the 24 trucks that showed up tonight, and how they were all scored. Ed, it was your first time broadcasting me in a long time, and first time kind of coming up here and doing a show with us here at SRN. What do you make of it, man? It was great to have you back. I think we had some great chemistry, and we got a good show to call at on top of that.
Yeah, I loved every bit of it. I know it's been a long time since I've been in the booth, but I never had so much fun in my life. I like, my mother walked by cell a couple of times, see me with a smile on my face. I was just enjoying it so much. I miss doing this. I appreciate you and Jonathan Byer for allowing me the opportunity to come in and fill in for Landon, who hopefully will be back next week. But I had a great time calling in with you, Emerson, and always enjoy calling the races with you. Appreciate everybody at Speed Racing Network for allowing me to come do this, and thank you for putting on a great show. I mean, it was a heck of a race to call. One I'll definitely remember for a while. I mean, this was definitely one of the wilder Texas finishes we had in Speed Racing Network history, I feel like, and definitely is up there. I mean, congrats to Lane Hosler. I mean, put on a great race, and the rest of the field. I mean, an outstanding race to call, an outstanding race for the fans to watch. I know everybody in the streams probably enjoyed that one, and definitely will be one to remember for a while.
Absolutely. And so I think that'll do it for us here from Speed Racing Network. But before we go, of course, a huge shout out to all of our partners here at SRN. Of course, Fiverr, for all of Fiverr, Glytch, and Zegros for all their work on each of their respective series. But tonight, of course, a huge shout out to Glytch, of course, for the main sponsor for Glytch and the Glytch Truck series. Make sure you use code SRN10 for 10% off of your Glytch purchases. Admin Box has been on your screen all night long, and of course they were our starting grid presenter this evening. Make sure you use code SRN-box, that is BOXX, for 10% off of your Admin Box purchases. Of course, we had a message from Butt Kicker earlier in the evening. Huge shout out to them and all their work here with Speed Racing Network. EPI, of course, with our Victory Lane presentation, and Select Blinds, of course, with the incident replays this evening. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, guys, go and scroll down. If you see that big bright red button that says subscribe, go and click it. Make it gray and make it say subscribe. Help us out reach our subscription goal here at Speed Racing Network. We would greatly appreciate it. While you're down there, you might see that blue button that says join. You might wonder, well, what does that mean? Join what? Well, you can join our Speed Racing Network membership program. For $4.99 a month, you can get access to Speed Racing Network premium membership, loyalty badges, custom emojis, exclusive wallpapers and photos, early access to new content, member shoutouts, members only live chats, and priority reply to comments. Of course, to join, you can click on that blue join button next to the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Of course, shout out to all of our social media outlets where you keep up with all things SRN. Our Facebook page at facebook.com/Speed Racing Network, our X page, x.com/Speed Racing Net, our Instagram at instagram.com/Speed Racing Network, our YouTube at youtube.com/Speed Racing Network, our Twitch at twitch.tv/Speed Racing Net, our LinkedIn at linkedin.com/company/Speed Racing Network, and of course the website where you can keep up with everything SRN, from news, schedules, points, all that jazz, is at speedracingnetwork.com. Well, I believe then that'll do it here from the Lone Star State. Thank you all for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. For all at Speed Racing Network, thank you so much for watching. We had Ed Shearer alongside myself, Emerson Arden, in the virtual booth this evening. We'll see you tomorrow night when the Z-Grill series keeps on rolling here from Texas, or next Wednesday night when the Glytch Truck series heads up to Watkins Glen.